Hello, hello. Welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host, your single parent mentor and coach. Today, I want to talk about something that does affect us a lot as a single parent, and that's our self-worth, our self-esteem, knowing that we're good enough to step back into the dating world, knowing where we stand, what our values are, and how much we value ourselves. And that plays a huge role in our level of confidence and what we stand for and what we believe in. So today, I want to talk about knowing your self-worth. Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So, let's dive in. Okay, so it is quite common to go through an ugly breakup or have something happen in a relationship or even in your childhood that's really affected your confidence. And it's played with your head and it's screwed up your self-worth. And it's led you to believe that you're not good enough. You're not good enough to date a specific person. Or maybe you're not good enough to start dating again. You're worried that somebody's not going to like you. So you're letting that hold you back. Now, it is heartbreaking to see when this happens. But we've all been there at some point where we've doubted ourselves, where we just thought you weren't good enough. And this can come from so many different scenarios and situations. It could come from you being in a relationship with someone who has led you to believe that if you break up, you're not going to be anything without them. You're going to be nothing without me. Or you're not going to succeed without them. You're not going to be able to make it financially without this person. Or it's just someone that's constantly bombarded you with sarcasm and negative comments. And you've just been deprived of anything nice. You've been deprived of people complimenting you and telling you how good you are. And your life has just really lacked that. And as a result, you're now completely lacking any confidence or self-worth because nobody's praised you, or the people that love you and are closest to you are not praising you. And that's something that's so important in our life. And it can come from just being with partners that are complete arseholes and are just insecure in themselves. And so they want to put that shit onto you to make you feel shit. And in their head at the time, they're not thinking that. They're not thinking, well, I'm going to make her feel like shit. They're just miserable in themselves and putting that onto someone else, which is usually in the moment their partner. Is that right? Hell no. No, it's not. But these situations are played out because the person who's doing this doesn't know how to control their emotions, or clearly in themselves, they don't have the self-worth. They don't have the confidence. And that's how they just play it out. That's how they go through life, just being negative and sarcastic and dealing with everything through comedy and making a joke and taking the piss. And usually when it's done in that sarcastic manner, it's because they're doubting themselves. They don't feel good enough in themselves. And when you're seeing people put other people down, again, it's not an intentional dig. It's because they're not feeling good. And sometimes when they see other people hurting, it might make them feel a little bit better knowing that someone's not doing it as shit as they are. Again, is that right? No. But it all comes down to knowing your self-worth. And sometimes this also comes from our childhood. And it's not intentional, because it's just how our parents were raised and they didn't know any different. Maybe we grew up with parents that just weren't very good at giving love or showing emotion or affection. And they weren't parents that gave hugs or said, I love you. Nothing bad on them. That's just how they were raised and they didn't know any different. But it's up to you as a person that if you're not liking this, make some changes. Change that pattern. And these patterns can't be changed until you're able to step back and see what's happening and notice that there's something going on that you don't agree with. Because when you're growing up in a household where no one ever said, I loved you, no one ever praised you, no one ever gave you compliments, or when they did, it was minimal, it makes you question, well, am I good enough? And you're constantly on that battle to prove your worth to people. You're constantly trying to show people, yes, I am good enough. But you don't have to prove anything to anyone. But when you're going through those phases in life where no one's ever said it to you, then you're constantly craving it. And it makes you question your self-worth. It makes you question, are you good enough? And you are, but you've just lacked people telling you that. But at the end of the day, the important thing is it you're needing people to tell you that? Or is it that you're just needing to see that in yourself? I mean, yes, it is nice to be recognized and it's nice to have people say, wow, that's really good, or wow, you've done amazing. But it is so important for you to see that in yourself. Because when you're confident in yourself and you know your worth, it shines and it shows and it radiates. And it's so important. People want to associate with people that are positive and that are happy. And you just attract people like that to you. But when you're negative and nasty and you're down on yourself and you're constantly questioning yourself, it's not a positive quality to have. It's not something that people look at and go, oh, they sound fun. When you're constantly doubting yourself and being negative Nancy on yourself and thinking that you're not good enough, people are going to be like, well, I don't want to hang out with them. They're just negative and they're never happy, and well, they just can't make decisions because they just keep saying, oh, it's up to you, it's up to you. And those, again, are people that are too scared to make decisions because they don't feel like they're going to say the right thing. And they doubt themselves. So what do you do to get out of that pattern? How do you start recognizing your worth? Because when you do notice your worth, it's so important in the dating world and as a single parent, when you've been through so much shit, to be able to just put your foot down and say, no, that's not okay. Because when you doubt yourself and you don't think you're good enough, you don't think you're good enough to question people. You don't think it's right. You think, oh, well, I shouldn't say no, that's not right, because then they'll just look at me and think, who is she, or what do they know? But if you know your worth and you know you are good enough and you know what you're saying, then there's nothing for you to doubt. Yes, you are worthy of having boundaries. You are worthy of putting your foot down. And that's so important in this single parenting stage because, one, you're teaching your kids to stand up for themselves and you're teaching them how to have self-worth in themselves. Because when you're at a place when you can speak up and know your boundaries and know what's acceptable and what's not, it shows the kids how to do that when, for example, they're at school. Because if you've got someone coming to you and just making smart ass comments and having little digs and you just walk away and get all sad and maybe cry and get all upset, then that's what you're teaching the kids how to handle those situations when they're put in that environment. So if someone came to them at school and said, oh, you're ugly, then they might just walk away and cry and get really sad. But then you might have someone that's got a bit of self-worth and more confidence and might think to themselves, whatever, I don't really give a shit what you think. Or they might even turn around and say, thanks, but no, I'm not ugly. And do you know what? That's what I've been teaching my daughter to say. No, I'm not ugly, but thank you for your opinion. And that speaks volumes about your self-worth and about your character and about your confidence. Because if you're just going to turn around and get sad when someone says a comment along those lines, not necessarily saying you're ugly, but just something like that, just something to put you down and criticize you, and you just get sad and upset, it shows that you're probably believing it and you're feeling shit about yourself. But if you valued your self-worth and you valued who you were as a person and you knew your strengths, then you wouldn't let that faze you. You'd be like, whatever. No, I'm not. But thank you. Thanks for your feedback. And it's not about being nasty and it's not about being bitchy or whatever else. And it's sad that I don't know how it is with men, but I notice that with women, when we have standards and boundaries and we put our foot down, it's considered bitchy. When in my eyes, it's considered having confidence. I'm always a big believer that you can say whatever you want. You can speak up and have your opinions on any matter, but do it in a kind way. You don't have to be bitchy and nasty to get your point across. You don't have to be that kind of person that walks around with the mentality, I say what I want. That to me is saying what you want without putting a filter on it. You can say what you want, But you don't have to be an arsehole about it. You can say it in a nice, kind way. Thanks, but I don't agree, but I'll take that on board. And keep that in mind. Like, there's someone that can come up to two people and say the same things. One person might cry and get really upset. The other person might go, whatever. And it's the exact same comment. So why did two people handle it so differently? Because one person isn't fazed. They've got the confidence to not let that bother them. But the other person is so insecure in themselves and they're doubting themselves so much that they probably think, well, maybe they're right. Maybe no one likes me. No one cares. No one wants me around. And then you start believing these comments and it's putting you lower and lower and lower. And then when you as an adult start doing this and start behaving to comments in this way, again, I'm not saying that as an adult you're going to be dealing with people saying you're ugly, but you're going to be dealing with arseholes. They're out there. You can't avoid them in life. So when you deal with nasty people and you just turn around and cry as a way to handle it, you may not cry, but you might just walk around and be, oh my God, they thought I was this or they thought I was that. And you let that really fuck with your confidence. Then that's how your kids are going to handle situations. It's so important to remember that when you're put in a situation where someone says something negative to you and it puts you in a place where you're questioning yourself and your identity and your worth, it's showing the kids that that's what they should do in that situation. Your role as a parent is to teach them to be strong and confident in who they are. And to do that, you need to know your value in life. And everyone here has value, has worth, and is important. And that's so important to remember. Everyone is important. And the biggest thing that I've said on a couple of different episodes, no one is better than anyone else. Someone might have more money, somebody might have a better paying job, somebody might have a bigger house or go on more holidays. Does that make them a better person? It makes them have more zeros in their bank balance. It doesn't make them a better person. It makes them a wealthier person. But at the end of the day, we all go to the same place. When we all clock off, we're all in the same place. We can't take our money with us. We can't take our job with us. We can't take our house with us. We all are on the same playing field. And I don't agree with anyone that tries to look down on people or tries to belittle people, especially us as single parents. We see that a lot where people look down on us like we're less than because we're a single parent. Oh, you poor thing. You're a single mum. No, thank you. I love where I'm at, but I appreciate your thoughts. But to get back your self-worth and to get back your identity and improve your confidence, it's a slow process. It's not just going to happen overnight. You're not just going to wake up one morning and say, that's it. I am going to smash it and I am going to be the most confident person out there. I mean, hey, that's a great place to start. You can get up every morning and give yourself a little affirmation like that and say, I'm confident, I'm amazing, and I'm going to smash it. Do that. That's amazing. But it's not going to actually physically come into play so easily like that because it's a mental thing and an emotional thing. And you need to work on your thought process and how you handle and react and respond to certain situations. Are you going to take it personally? Or are you going to just go, oh, thank you. Thanks for your feedback, but I'm not too bothered. Now, it is really hard these days to think that we are good enough and to know our self-worth when we're surrounded by social media images. There's so many unrealistic expectations of what is expected of us that it's so hard to look at us and go, yep, we're good enough, when there is so much fakeness and filters and everything out there. It's just, how do you not let that get to you? You're constantly judging your weight, your appearance, your hair, your age, your worth, your job, because it's constantly being looked at in everywhere you look these days, everywhere you look. And it's, how do you stop and go, nope, that doesn't bother me? And add to the mix, as a single parent, you've also got the pressures of the other parent, the pressures of meeting up to those expectations. And when the other parent gets a new partner and you feel like you've got to be, well, not good enough, or I won't say competing, but that is something that does play on your head. Are the kids going to maybe like them better? Or am I good enough? Are the kids going to be happy to want to come back to me? There's so much little questions and so much that happens in your head as a single parent. And then you've also got the stigma of parenting where people judge you and look at you. Oh, she's just a single mom, or they're just a single dad. Good for them. And there's all these little social expectations that play on your head on a daily basis. So it's so easy to just lose hope and give up and go, fuck it, I'm not good enough. And that's why you get all these people, and don't hate me if you're one of these, but they cover themselves up with fakeness. I'm sorry, but I feel like a lot of these people are doing this because they're trying to make themselves fit in with society and then trying to make themselves feel better. But you need to focus on your inner worth, not your outside worth. You need to focus on you and how you feel about yourself. You can go and get your fake lips. You can go and cover yourself up in tats. You can go and get a fake tan and whatever else you do. But is that making you feel better on the inside? And you sometimes look at people and they're covered up in tats or they're covered up in certain things, and you just look and you go, that person looks sad. And you just sometimes think, are you doing that as a way to make you feel better? Or is it a way to make you fit in? Is it a way to get attention? Because when you've got all this, people will notice it and they'll want to come and talk to you. There's so many reasons behind it. But a lot of the times you see all these people that have added all these artificial things to their body and to their image, and you just think, what are you covering up? Are you really hurting in the inside? Or are you really happy and that's just something you just wanted to add to your appearance? If you are really happy and you are just wanting to do this for yourself, then I have no issues with that at all. But if you're doing that as a way to make you feel good, then feel good from the inside. Work on that, because that's not going to change your confidence. You can do something and add something to you. And again, I have no hate or judgment that of anyone that wants to do anything to themselves. That's your own prerogative. But do it because you want to do it. Don't do it as a way to get attention. Don't do it as a way to try to make you feel good. And most importantly, don't do it as a way just to fit in. You are worthy of being who you are. There's no other you. There's no other you. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, because if you want to be like them, then who's going to be you? You need to just focus on you and focus on being the best version of you. And if adding something to your appearance by getting it cosmetically done or whatever other procedure there is your way of making you feel good, then that's what you want to do it. But make sure you're working on your confidence. Make sure you're looking at your worth, because that's not going to change who you are. It will change your appearance, but it doesn't change who you are as a person. So it's so important to nurture our faults, to understand that nobody is perfect. Nobody has a perfect life. I don't give a shit what anyone puts on their Instagram feed. I don't give a shit what anyone says. People only post the positive. Nobody posts the bad shit about what's happening in their life. And it does happen. But me personally, I like to keep it real. And there has been times that I have put negative stuff in my stories. And it's not so much negative stuff. It's reality. It's what we go through as a single parent. But I find people don't like that. I don't know if they think I'm just being negative or being down. It's not being negative. It's being real, being honest and raw and showing you this is life. This is what we go through. So don't pretend to be anyone else and appreciate your faults. If you're not a size 6, that's okay. I'm not either. Appreciate where you're at. And it does take a long time. It does take a lot of growth in yourself to actually get to a place where you can look at yourself and go, you know what? I don't give a fuck about my weight. I don't care what I look like. All I care about is being happy. And I went through my stages where I was in the gym 7 days a week. And then after the gym, I would go and have a sauna or a steam room. And then after that, I'd go down and I'd do laps. I'd be working out for 2-3 hours a day. I loved it, but this was pre-motherhood when I had the time. You just don't have the time now. And realistically, I'm probably heavier now as a mum than what I've ever been in my life. And there's so many things that impact that. 1, time. Two, stress. We all get stressed because we're constantly on the go, constantly thinking about what needs to get done. And you don't have the time to sit down and prepare those beautiful, healthy meals for every single breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sometimes you've got to eat on the run. Sometimes you've got to grab a pizza. I had Domino's one night this week because I was tired and came home late. And I was like, I'm not cooking tonight. Takeaway it is. And it happens. That's life. I'm not going to pretend to live some perfect life where I've got all my shit together because I don't. And that's okay. And we need to own that. We need to own our faults. Life's not about competing with anyone else. We don't need to compete with our next door neighbor or who we follow on Instagram or our ex's partner. We don't need to compete with anyone. All we need to focus on is being better than who we were last week or yesterday or whenever. Being a better version of us. If who we are now is worse than who we were last year, then we need to make some changes. But if you're looking at your life right now and you're happier or happy with where you're at now compared to where you're at 12 months ago, then you're winning. You're winning. That's it. That's what you need to focus on. There's no competition in your life other than anyone but you. All you need to do is keep focusing on going uphill. Don't look at anyone else around. They're in their own little battle. You may see certain aspects of their life and you go, oh, fuck, I wish I had that life. Oh, they look so happy. But like I said, remember, they don't put everything on social media. Behind closed doors, it could be a very different story. And as we all hear, when those relationships break up, it's always the ones that you come back to when you hear that story. It's like, oh, they look so happy. I would have never thought they would have broken up. They look so happy. And that's just it. You never expect it because they put on that image that everything is happy and perfect. Now, I'm not saying they're being fake, but you just don't know what's happening in someone else's life is what I'm trying to get at here. You may think it's all perfect. You may think it's all happy family and Brady Bunch vibes and everything else. But it could be completely different in reality because you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. For all you know, they could be going financially bust and about to declare bankruptcy. Fuck, I hope that's not happening. But it could be the case. With this financial market, you don't know. They may be struggling to make ends meet. They could be fighting every night and sleeping in different bedrooms. You don't know what's happening. But this is just my example of why you should not compare yourself to anybody else. You do not know what's happening. You focus on you and what's happening in your house. If you're able to pay your bills, if you've got a roof over your head, your kids are healthy, that's a win. That's a win. And that's how you slowly work on getting your self-esteem back and working on your confidence. You start looking at the positives in you. What's going right in your world? And start putting less attention onto those around you. You don't need to compare yourself with anyone on social media who makes millions and millions of dollars a year. I mean, hey, wouldn't we all love to do that? And if you want to do that, then focus on your own little bubble and what you can do to get there. Take those little steps. Go back to my goal setting episode on New Year's. What can you do to start achieving these goals of something bigger and better that you want in your life? But don't do it by comparing yourself to other people because all that's going to do is shit on your confidence and shit on your self-worth. Start knowing who you are. Start knowing your worth and start realizing, you know what? Fuck it. I am good enough. I am good enough. And just remember that when it comes to the dating world, because as single parents, when it comes to meeting new people, that's one big thing that fucks with your head. Well, fuck, am I good enough? And I met someone like this. I had a conversation with someone recently and they were saying, I went on a date with this person, but I just felt like I wasn't good enough for her. And I'm like, holy fuck. That made me so sad. It made me so sad. And I said to this person, I said to him, why is she better than you? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, why do you think she's not good enough for you? And he's like, because she's pretty and she dresses nicely. I said, that doesn't make her better than you. There's nothing less than about you that makes her better than you. If she's gone on a date with you, then she likes you. No one is less than or better than. And that is so important to realize in the dating world. And I hate hearing that term, or you're punching above your weight. What the fuck does that mean? Is that just superficial shit because someone might be attractive? They might be attractive, but they might be completely broke. They've got nothing going for themselves. They've got no goals. And are you punching above your weight if you're going out with someone like that? Is that what that fucking means? That's a superficial bullshit term that I fucking hate. You're punching above your weight, mate. Well, fuck, mate. Do you know anything about this person? And again, see, it's just based on looks. If you want to live your life based on looks, then go for that image. Add whatever you want to your body to make you get those looks that you want to fit up with the Joneses. But for me, I'm all about being authentic and focusing on being a better version of you and keeping it real. So when you're going on a date with someone, I do not want you going on a date thinking, fuck, they're better than me. He's not going to like me, or she's not going to like me. Because why do you say that? Because they're attractive? They're better than you? It doesn't make sense. Does that make sense in your opinion? Because you need to remember, if someone is willing to go on a date with you, then they're liking you. They're seeing some positive qualities in you, and they're seeing some attractiveness in you, and you guys are clearly clicking and vibing in some way, that they're thinking, yeah, this person sounds nice. We should go on a date. Do not put that bullshit superficial term on your dating status thinking I'm not good enough, because they might be slightly more attractive. And you might think they might have gone out with guys that were different to you. So keep that in mind. People aren't with people just for their looks. You do get people that swipe on social media based on looks. That's a known fact. Sorry, not on social media, on online dating. It's a known fact. People are just going to sit there and swipe and swipe and swipe and swipe. But are they going to continually get dates? Is that person going to offer any substance to the relationship? Or is it just all that superficial look shit? And that's what you need to focus on. You don't want to focus on keeping someone happy because you look pretty. You want to keep someone happy because of what you can bring to the table. That's what it's about. That's what self-worth and self-confidence is about. Knowing what you can bring to the table and knowing that if that person's not good enough for you, then you don't want them at your table. You're happy to sit alone until you find the right person. That's what self-worth is about. So just please remember, I want you to know your value. I want you to know your worth. Start having some boundaries. Put your foot down. Don't just fall for the first person that says you want to go on a date and you're thinking in your head, they're not my type, but I probably won't get anyone else, so I'll just go on the date. Is that knowing your worth? You're lowering your standards and your expectations because of your self-worth. You're giving in because you think, I might not find someone better. I might not find someone to what I really like. And when you do that, I can guarantee you now, it's not a relationship that'll have longevity. Those relationships don't work because when you give in at the start, you can give in to certain things for so long and then eventually you'll crack and be like, fuck, this is not right. And to know your worth is so important. And one thing to remember, that when you start to get in a place where you can start putting your foot down, well, not so much putting your foot down, where you know where you stand, you know what your expectations are, you know what your standards are in life when meeting someone and you've put your boundaries down. Nope, I'm not going to tolerate that. Then you will come to a period where you'll probably have less dates because you're not just welcoming everyone into your world. You might have gone to a period where you're like, yep, sure, they've asked me on a date. Yep, let's go. Going to date them, going to date them, going to date them, going to date them. And you've just dated them or gone out with them because they've asked. And maybe you have completely nothing in common with this person. You've never had a chat. You've never discussed anything at all. They've just asked you on a date. So you're just like, yep, let's go on a date. But then when you get to a place where you realize that that's wasting a lot of your time and energy, and you start going out with these people that you just think, well, maybe toxic or boring or just not your cup of tea. Well, hey, they may even be lovely people. They may be beautiful people, but they're just not, they're not for you. They're not on the same path as you. They just haven't got goals, or they're just not what you're looking for. And then you get to a point and it's just like, okay, I'm not going to keep wasting my time doing this. I'm a single mum or a single dad. I can't just keep changing my schedule to go on these dates that are just not working out. So you start putting down your boundaries. You start knowing your worth and like, nope, I'm not wasting my time on these people. And that's not being rude. That's being realistic. You need to know where you stand. You're not just going to give your time and energy away to anyone just because they've asked. They're not right for you. They're not right for you. And when you start putting down these boundaries in place, and you might speak to someone and you plan to go on a date, And leading up to the date, you start having some conversations. And then in these chats, you just think to yourself, red flags, there's something not right here. I don't like it. Not comfortable with the way they speak to me. They're very sarcastic. They're a little bit rude, or it might be something to do with their parenting style, or they're not involved in their kids, which you think is a bit of a turn off. It could be anything. And in these conversations, you might be thinking to yourself, not for me, but I'm just going to go on the date. Why? Why would you do that? One, you're wasting your time. You're probably wasting their time because you know already you're not interested. And you're not sticking by your worth. Know who you are. Nope, that's not for me. I'm not doing that. And again, you don't have to be rude to approach this. You can just maybe even speak to them on the phone or send them a message, whatever you're comfortable with, because you haven't met them at this point, so you don't owe them anything. Besides an explanation, it's common courtesy to give an explanation and just say, it's been lovely chatting, but unfortunately, I just don't think that we're on the right path. I think we're just a little bit too different, and I don't think it's what I'm looking for. That's knowing your self-worth, not just giving into things because you're too scared to say no. Those people that are too scared to say no, they're the ones that doubt themselves too much. They're the ones that doubt themselves and don't think they're good enough to say what they really want. They don't think they're good enough to have an opinion. They don't think they're good enough to be like, nope, not for me. But you are. Everyone is worthy of knowing what they want in life. Everyone is worthy of having their own opinion. But do it in a nice way. You don't have to be nasty or bitchy about it. Sometimes they may get nasty and bitchy with their response to it because their ego has been hurt. But that's not your problem to fix. If you've been kind and nice about it and they're going to get upset, then that's probably more of a reason that you don't want to go on a date with them. You don't want to be in a relationship with someone that's going to get all upset and precious because you're giving them constructive feedback or you're giving them your opinion. They should be able to be adult enough to take that opinion on board and say, yep, cool, I appreciate your honesty. Good luck with everything. That's the kind of person you want. That's nice. You will get that, and you will get someone that gets defensive. Oh, fuck you then. Who do you think you are? They're the precious little ones that are still hurt and they don't have their self-worth. So they feel like that they've been rejected and you've let them down. So they're just going to go straight back into the scrolling game. That's why it's so important to know your worth. And again, you may have someone that's rejected you. Well, no, I'm not going to say rejected. That's put down or said to you, thank you, it's been lovely chatting, but unfortunately I don't think this is what I want. You may have had someone that said that to you. Are you going to get upset and take it personally and go, well, that fucking arsehole, how dare they say that to me? They have no idea what they're missing out on. Or you're just going to be like, yep, that's cool. No worries. I appreciate your honesty, and then wish them well. Because if you know your self-worth, you know your confidence, you're not going to get all you're not going to get all precious about it. You don't need to prove your worth to somebody. And somebody that doesn't know their worth is someone that tries to push their opinions onto other people. They're someone that pushes their worth. Well, I am good enough. You need me because, or you should get to know me. That's someone questioning their worth and making sure someone sees it. That's okay if you're not someone's cup of tea. That's okay if you're not right for someone. But knowing who you are, knowing that you are good enough, you won't take that personally. And that's a big thing with knowing your worth and knowing who you are, is not taking things too personally. And you know what? We've all probably been there. I know I went through a path years ago when I was much younger. I took everything to heart. I took things so personally. And that's probably stemmed from past relationships and childhood and things that I've been through. But you work on that. You work on that. Don't put those issues onto new relationships. You don't have to prove your worth to anybody. And if you see yourself doing that, you see yourself trying to force an explanation onto somebody. You're trying to force somebody to like you. You're trying to force to be someone's friend. Why are you doing that? Do you think you're not good enough? Do you think that you're not worthy of them seeing the true you, that you've got to force yourself onto other people? You are good enough. Your good friends, your support group, your people will see that. They will know your worth, and you don't need to force that on into anybody. And don't forget that. So when knowing your self-worth, it's so important to, one, don't compare yourself to other people. Social media, your partner's ex, your partner's situation, your ex's situation, whatever they're doing, don't compare yourself to anybody. All you need to compare yourself, the only person you need to compare yourself to is you and where you've come from. Where you've come from. Were you someone that was struggling to find a house to live maybe 12 months ago, and now you're in a nice home, you're settled, you're comfortable? Then you're winning. Are you someone that was out of work 12 months ago, now you've got a good job and you're paying your bills and you're comfortable and you're doing well, and now you're planning a holiday? You're winning. Those are things you need to focus on and be happy of and be proud of. Fuck what everyone else does. They're not paying your bills. They're not paying your bills. Who cares what they think? And when you start to learn to love yourself and you start to appreciate yourself with faults and everything, then you will learn to have your boundaries because you're putting up your worth. You're not tolerating shit that you would have used to have tolerated. You're not letting people come into your world that are just going to be negative and toxic and drama. You don't want that. So when you know your worth, you're not going to tolerate that. You'll see a red flag and you'll just shut it down straight away. Thank you. No, thank you. But if you don't know your worth and you're not appreciating your value, then you'll ignore those red flags. You'll keep going down those same patterns. You'll keep giving them chances. You'll stay in unhealthy relationships and unhealthy environments. That is because you don't know your worth. You're not appreciating your value. So start looking at you from the outside and look at how fucking amazing you are. Look at where you've come from and look at how good your life is and what you've done on your own as a single fucking parent. Be proud of that. Be proud of your life. If you're a size 18, then fucking own it and be proud of it. Go and rock it. If you're not living some glamorous life where you can go out and buy designer stuff, then you know what? If you're fucking paying your bills, you're feeding your kids, you're doing what you can to get by, then that's what you need to focus on. You're getting this done on your own. That's fucking amazing. Because a lot of people can't. That's why they stay in these relationships that are unhealthy. Because they think they can't do it on their own. So they just stay with someone else because it's easier to do it with two people. Because it is easier. But fuck, you're doing it on your own. So look at that and be proud. Be proud. So stop judging yourself. Stop nitpicking yourself. And talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. Would you tell your best friend that they were fat? Would you tell your best friend that they're a fucking broke bitch? Or that they've got nothing? Or they're going nowhere in life? Would you say that to your best friend? No, you definitely wouldn't. So why do you say it to yourself? So speak to yourself the way you would speak to your best friend. And start loving who you are. That is how you start getting your confidence back and your self-worth. Know your value. Know your value. And remember, when you go on a date with somebody, they're not better than you. They're not punching above their weight. Or you're not punching above your weight, or fucking whatever the term is. They're not in a different class or a different league to you because of their status or their job or their money. No, it's not about that. It's about who you are. So do not go into the dating world thinking, fuck, I'm not good enough, because it's not about that. And if you are dating someone that's going to judge you on your appearance or your job or your money or whatever else, then do you want to date that person? I know I wouldn't. If I met someone that was just going to judge me on all those things, I'd be like, say yeah, you're not what I'm looking for. You're way too superficial for me. I mean, fuck, wouldn't it be nice to meet someone that had all those things? But do you really want to judge someone or based on that criteria? You could find a partner that's extremely good looking and very well cashed up. But does that mean you're going to get along and have an amazing relationship? And it's nice to meet someone that's got goals and is in a job or career that they're passionate about and that they're doing well in. You don't want to meet a no-hoper that's got no plans in life, no job, no license. Mate, what are you doing? You don't want to meet someone like that. But you could meet someone that have just lost their job or something's just happened. But if they've got plans to do something better with their life, then fuck, yes, that's amazing. That's what you want. You want someone with goals and plans. So who cares? They may not have much in the bank account. They may have been through some shitty breakups and they've lost everything. And now they're having to rebuild their life again from scratch. But if they've got a good job and they've got fucking goals and dreams to do things with their life, then that's what you need to focus on. That's what you need to look at. Not what's in their fucking bank account, not what they fucking look like, what they fucking want to do with their life and what kind of person they are. That's what you want, and that's what you connect with. That's what keeps it real. So keep yourself real and know who you are. And in saying that, I do have that ebook that is out. I am going to quickly plug it. The Single Parent's Guide to Prioritizing Self-Care. Now, just remember, this book isn't about just fucking going to get a face mask and a massage. Prioritizing self-care is pretty much about what we just focused on today. Prioritizing you, prioritizing your needs, and putting you first, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, in every way possible. And it's talking about how to get your needs met and how to put you as a priority in your world, because it's so easy to put our needs on the back burner as a single parent. So this book covers everything about putting you as number one, and that's what you need to get your self-worth back on track. All we want in life is to feel loved and be wanted by somebody. But it's important to give yourself that too. You need to love yourself and know that you're worthy of getting that. If you keep doubting yourself and questioning that, you're going to make it harder. Love who you are. Look at where you've come from and focus on how fucking amazing you are and how fucking far you have come. That's what's important, and that's what helps you know your worth and how fucking great you are. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. Shoot through any feedback you have, and if you want to give us a review, go and do it. Shoot me a screenshot of your review, because I don't get notifications, so I can see, I might even send you a little gift. So thank you, everyone, for listening week in and week out. I love you all. Before I go, I truly hope you got something from this episode, and until next time, I'll be in your ears then. Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.